G'day everyone, and welcome to Outback New South Wales, which is the start of our next adventure. We're heading down the Darling River, stopping at places like Burke, Tilpa and Menindee, so come along for the ride.
Our first night on the road was spent at Mount Hope on the Kidman Way, roughly between Cobar and Hillston. The pub lets you stay out the back for free, but obviously throw a few dollars over the bar and have a counter meal and a cold beer, and they'll let you use their amenities as well. Great little place to stop. The Royal Hotel at Mount Hope was built back in 1881 and still boasts the original bar after parts of the pub have burnt down twice, and we've established on this trip that you're not an Australian pub unless you've burnt down at least once. There's a terrific lookout across the road from the pub that gives you a great general idea of the area. After going for a walk up to the lookout from the Mount Hope pub this morning, we came across what we surmised to be an old copper mine and a big base where a steam engine would have sat to run the mine, we gather. Lots to see and do at Mount Hope.
Alright, things have been going fairly well up until now. So we've got a slight issue here in Burke where we've broken a spring on the trailer, and hopefully we can get a replacement and get on the road and get to Tilpa tonight. Shouldn't take much to get it fixed, hopefully. Alright. Watch yourself, Glenn.
Yeah.
Oh.
You want a rental gun? No, I've got all undone. Yeah.
After contacting every mechanic and engineering place in Burke, we were all pointed in the one direction, and that was back to Kevin Hatch's engineering. Now we contacted Kevin. He was an hour and a half out of town, so to escape the heat we ended up going to the Burke Bowling Club, had a couple of cold ones and waited for Kevin to arrive. He had exactly what we needed, although we had to look hard in a pile of second-hand springs to find it. But we finally got a couple of springs to fit the boat. He was good enough to help us out with a lift from his forklift and borrowing a few of his tools, and could not have asked for better service from Kevin Hatch Engineering in Burke. Before leaving Burke, we ducked into the Burke Cemetery to pay our respects to Dr. Fred Hollows, the renowned eye surgeon. I wondered why he was actually buried in Burke, but it was his wish because he did so much work with the Indigenous population around Burke and that area. It was his wish that he be buried at Burke. Due to the time lost changing the springs on the boat trailer, we weren't going to make Tilpa tonight, so we settled at Louth. So this is going to be our home for the next couple of days. So Louth was established as a river port back in 1859 by a bloke by the name of Thomas Matthews, who built the pub there, and I'll talk about him very shortly. Louth has a population of about 30. No one seemed to know how many people actually lived in the town, but the head count swells to anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 people for the annual Louth races. The poet Henry Lawson once described Louth as a place that loved a drink, a punt and a party.
Okay, so this is where we stayed at the Louth campground, and it says your one-stop happening spot. Not quite sure when it's happening, maybe when the races are on, but it's certainly not happening at the moment. But great little spot to stay. Darling River at Louth. Just on the bridge, going for a bit of a morning stroll. We'll hopefully get the boat in if we can find a suitable place to launch today and go for a bit of a scoot along here. So if you look up there's a blue marker just at the top of the pylon there. That's where the water came to in late last year's floods. So we found a spot to launch the boat. She's a little sketchy, but I reckon we'll do it. There's another indicator of where the floodwaters came up to, and we are right off the river. The river's probably 200-300 metres in front of me there, and so there would have been a power of water going through here. Well, welcome back to the LCG, where the galahs are feasting very heavily on the dry grass. Beautiful drop-in wicket here today. Conditions are ideal. Now we've just got to wait for the teams to turn up.
The Shining Cross, as it's known, which can be found in the Louth Cemetery, was erected by Thomas Matthews as a memorial to his first wife Mary, who died in 1869. Thomas was known as the King of Louth due to the work that he did to establish the port there. The cross was constructed in Bendigo and completed in 1882. It was then loaded onto the paddle steamer Jane Eliza, but due to low water levels, it took 3 years to arrive in Burke. It was then transported by bullock dray to Louth, where it was erected in the cemetery. The return trip for the Jane Eliza only took 9 days. On sunset every year on the 19th of August, the date of their anniversary, a light reflects off the cross onto the house where Thomas and Mary lived in the township of Louth. There's plenty to do around this area, so we thought we might go and visit Dunlop Station. Unfortunately, due to it not being tourist season, the station was actually closed until it gets a bit cooler. But Kim there put us on to Terrell Station, which is about 50 k's to the east of Louth. So we drove there, and it's a station that's been taken over by the National Parks, and they're restoring the homestead. The station was about 1.4 million acres and ran thousands of cattle and sheep in its heyday. The poet Henry Lawson actually worked there at one stage. just walking around the grounds and through the homestead that they're restoring, you get the feeling how magnificent this place would have been back in its heyday. It really is a sight to see. Tyrrell Station was established in 1857 by Samuel Macaulay. He built the station homestead for his favourite niece, and it's located on the junctions of the Darling and the Warrego rivers.
Virtually come straight down there, mate. This is a little bit a sketchy ramp, but we'll get her in. Yeah, I reckon straight back, mate. It's not going to make a difference where you put it, but yeah, righto. Whoop, whoop. So the idea, the Savo, is we're going to throw some yabby nets in and go for a bit of a cruise along the Darling here at Louth and just check the place out. And if we get a fish, we get a fish, but it's all about the yabbies this afternoon. So, and just having a bit of an explore along this spot. So I'm not sure if you can pick it up, but over about there, there's you can see a cabin through the trees, and just the top of the levee, or the apparently the water was a metre off the top of the levee during the flood. So that'll give you a bit of an idea of how much water was pumping through here. I can't see it. Alright. Let's see how we go here.
That's just come out.
Oh, hello. Hey, hey, looks like we've found the spots. Very good.
Couple of feeders in there.
Yeah, so we'll sort through these, make sure we haven't got any females in there, and we'll go and check the rest of them. It's not a bad little haul.
Yeah, how you figure that females?
Turn them over, and if you've got eggs on their bellies. I don't know if you can see that, but there's just all little carp in the shrimp net. So they will be disposed of, and no shrimp in there. Only a couple of carp and a few yabbies, so alright, we'll get them out. Be a bit hard to pick up on the camera, but in this tree all the little white dots are all dead carp just hanging off the trees from the high water, and it stinks. Yes, it does smell a little bit ripe here. Anyway, we'll see what we've got here. Bit of weight in it.
Hello.
And there we go. There's another nice feed. A few in there. That tin catfish from the reject shop has done it again.
We're upset too.
Alright, so last net for the day. We haven't even come close to getting our bag between the two of us, so we will sort these out into some bait yabbies and some eating yabbies when we get back to camp, and looks like we're eating like kings tonight. Alright, hopefully we can get her out. Easy as. Well, this is a little setup at Louth. It's quite cosy, nice green grass. We're just packing up after our second night here, so camp's a bit messy, and we're heading towards Tilpa and fingers crossed Menindee tonight. So look across there in the distance, that's the amenities block, and just behind that's the pub, so it's all nice and convenient. They've got a couple of cabins here, and just in the distance there is the levee that they built when the floods were on, and we'll just go for a wander down here. So they had a big mob of water come through here, and the locals were telling us that it got within a metre of the top of the levee, so just to give you a bit of an idea. We'll just pop over here. So there's the river down there, and I suppose just somewhere just down there was where the water came to. So massive amounts of water.
good to get to Tilpa after spending all day on rough, corrugated and dusty roads. Tilpa's located on the Darling River, and the hotel has a unique way of raising money for the Royal Flying Doctor Service in that you pay $2 and you get to write your name on the wall. The pub itself is located right on the banks of the Darling River, and it's only just recently opened again due to the high flood waters in the surrounding area. But it's a great little place to spot, and we'll stay here and stretch our legs before making a push on to Menindee.
So we're at the Tilpa Weir, and as you can see by the marks on the sign where the floodwaters got up to, so we're approximately, I'm just guessing, 10 to 15 metres above the waterline now, to give you a bit of an idea where the floodwaters came up to here and where they've receded to. Between Tilpa and Bourke and come across this crossing, and just gives you an idea of the flood damage that's happened here a couple of months ago. But this would have to be, we've been on some pretty terrible roads, but this has got to be the worst section of road we've been on the last few days. This is the weir at Wilcannia, and I've got to say the last time I was here it was just a trickle going over that. Yeah, still the fish bloody swimming upstream there. Wilcannia, just filling up with some fuel. Well, good evening everyone. We've made it to Menindee. We've camped on the shore of Lake Panamaroo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Been a big day coming from Louth this morning via Tilpa. Almost 400 kilometres. 98% of that was on unmade roads, and still a lot of damaged roads from the floods here back in the late part of last year. So camp's been set up, and Rhino's getting the fire going. I'm cooking a bit of dinner, which is really basic tonight, just snags in bread with a bit of onion and a frothy to wash it down. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. We've got the boat in the lake, and we'll hopefully maybe get some fish, hoping for some yabbies again. And yeah, we'll just see what Menindee has to offer over the next couple of days. Righto.
Never do that country.
I don't think I will. And we're kicking the morning off for the coffee. I'm not sure if you can see that, the big vortex virtually in the middle of the screen, but that's Lake Panamaroo and the outlet into the Darling River. So behind me is the outlet, and that's where all the water's coming from. That's Duck's taking his chances, I think. So this is the Darling River at the Menindee Lakes, and as you can see there's quite a bit of bird life, and that's because of the abundance of European carp. And the camera won't pick it up, but there is just a popping sound all over the place with the carp just popping out of the water. And there's just literally thousands of dead fish on the banks. Thousands and thousands of European carp. So this is where I launched the boat last year, right off this edge here. That's how high the water was. And now there'd be a fair effort to get the boat in down there. So hopefully the camera can pick it up. A bit of a white island floating just to the left hand side of the weir there. That's all dead fish. Looks like a cod and a yellow maybe. It's a bit hard to tell just up here on the rocks just below the wall. The main weir at Menindee, and you're so lucky that GoPros don't have a smell sensor. It absolutely reeks. Alright, might be a bit hard to see, but just down in there is just, I'd estimate hundreds, if not thousands, of European carp just all milling down the bottom of the weir wall here. Bit of a smorgasbord for the seagulls, cormorants and bin chickens. Here it's getting a little bit late in the day, and we haven't had any luck, which probably isn't surprising given the amount of carp in here. So just caught a couple of small freshwater shrimp and just threw a line out. It's only probably 10-15 metres out, and not even 2 minutes and rhino's hooked up. Now look at that big rubber lips. Get him in.
Filthy animal.
So this is the stuff that's been infesting our waterways up this way. So we'll humanely dispatch him, and we'll dig a hole and bury him. Well done, Rhino. You want to hold up your catch? Hey, hey! So tomorrow we're hoping to get away fairly early. So in preparation for that, we're doing breakfast now. So we're going to have some bacon and egg muffins, and we're just toasting everything up. We're going to assemble everything tonight, wrap them all up in foil, and then bang them in the travel buddy. And come about 10 o'clock, that'll be our breakfast brunch. Yeah. So just to save us a bit of time in the morning. So a fairly big day tomorrow, probably about 10 hours of driving. Well, we've just left the last lot of dirt from Menindee, so it's about 100 k's of dirt, and we'll try that again. So I've just left the last 100 k's of dirt behind us. Just over my shoulder is the Silver City Highway, which we'll be turning onto and heading south down towards Wentworth and Mildura, and then east back to Albury-Wodonga. It's been a fantastic trip. We've broken a few things, we've learned a few things, and definitely planning our next trip. And these flies. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one. Alright, we're about 4 hours from home now. This is our last pub stop at the Kylight pub. If you're ever down this way, please drop in. She's a cracker little pub. Lovely cold beer. So we're just stretching the legs here for 20 minutes, half an hour, and we'll be back on the road again. So here's Kylight. Got the Yabbies. Got the Yabbies that way up the bill. Just
What room did you go to?